Hey, what's up, everyone? So, I just want to cover a couple of things now that I've been done with the bar, done with law school, and now, just waiting for things because, it's kind of it's harder to get legal work until you've actually passed the bar. So, I have to wait a month and a half in order to get the results, which kind of sucks. But in the meantime, just been doing side work, things that I usually have done in the past, photography, digital design, consulting, stuff like that. Um, but in any case, I wanted to cover a couple of things that they don't really tell you in law school to think about. And this partially stems out of an exit interview I did at my school. I talked to them about different things that I thought was really important to address to law students before they begin. So without further ado, one of the things that is really important to think about with law school as a whole that for some reason it's you'd think they think about it, but they for some reason students don't really think about this, and that's how they're financing their education. Um, the dean of student affairs said to me, she said, yeah, she said it's you'd be amazed at how many people come into law school and they just think, oh, I'll just take out loans, just that, and they don't like sit there and think or calculate their debt out. I mean, I did for the most part, but there was still some ambiguity as to what the rates might be coming out or what I could reassess at. And so I think it's really important to take the time to look at what types of financing you can have. There are things like federal grants and private grants. Federal loans and private loans, federal grants. Scholastic scholarships, things like that. Um, but you really have to sit down and like run the numbers. Go online, put in some percentage rates into a calculator because that's a lot easier than doing all the math by hand, and say to yourself, okay, reasonably, when I graduate school, how much am I going to be paying a month? Um, and it can very much vary widely. I know some people are very fortunate that didn't have much school debt. Some people are kind of in the middle, about like kind of semi-average, school debt. And then some people have a lot of debt because they also have undergrad debt, or they're out of state, or they live in an expensive area. There's a lot of things to factor in. So really make sure you do that. And do that even before you go to law school, because that could be a big deterrent, especially in this economy, which will not be changing anytime soon. At least, at least within the American sphere. I mean, there could be some other global shifts, but that's another issue. Two, I think that there is a good benefit to doing a little bit of pre-law school, prep work. Not like I'm not saying that you're going to sit there and learn everything or get it. I'm saying that there are systems out there like LEWS, which is L, I think it's EEWS, that you can take and kind of just get a practice like writing law school exams. There's some like summaries and outlines that you might be able to read. Um, I think that if you take the time to maybe go through some of those little things just for law school, I did, and actually I thought it really helped me, especially in my torts exam. And so I wouldn't, go against doing that type of pre-practice work. I know some people say, oh, well, you're not going to learn anything. But I think there's some mechanics that can be learned. So take note of that. Um, and then finally, for big things to think about is the bar exam, which I talked about before. Um, but I want to talk about, in addition to the bar exam, making sure to take time to prepare for that, and take the 8 to 10 weeks fully studying, fully paying attention. I want to talk about what you're gonna have to do after the bar exam to make money and live, because a lot of people don't discuss that in law school either. They don't tell you when you first come in. Oh, by the way, you could potentially be up to 9 months or more after graduating without a job, and might not even be really your fault because you know if you have to if you're going to practice, you have to take the bar, and have to wait for the results. So between your May graduation and when you take the bar and you get the results, you're already looking at month May, June, July, August, September. About, I mean, you're already looking 5 months before realistically you're even able to practice legally for the most part. And that's not if you get your like certified legal intern status, but realistically, you're spending 5 months where you're going to have nothing. So unless your parents are rich or you had money saved up, or you took a bar study loan, I mean, you're kind of going to be in deep crap if you don't have money. And then, I'm fortunate in that I have some things I could do for side money. But even then, it's like you could have 4 or 5, 6 months where you don't know what you're going to do, and you need to prepare for that the year before. Like, you need to really look for internships that could be lucrative. In other words, paid internships. You need to look for something that you might be able to continue after you graduate law school. You're going to need something, unless your parents are loaded and they can take care of you. You're going to need to be making some side money, bartending, working at some student job, working at some law firm clerking or something. Like, I know some people that were able to do that, but with the market as it is, and especially in legal markets, become harder than ever. So really think about those things. It's not a joke. It's really scary, and it's something that you have to take a year, maybe even 2 years, to work on and build up your relationships for when you're done. You need to be looking for people that you can say, "Hey, can I work for you part time after I graduate?" Doing whatever it is you're gonna do. Maybe you're tutoring, maybe you're bartending, maybe you're doing like me, digital graphics design, things like that. Maybe you're clerking for an office where they don't need you to do anything but write memos or run. You need to find that, and it's really hard to find those jobs. Sua sponte, as you might say, in law school, right? It's really hard to find those jobs off the cuff. It's really hard. Even with a good network, it can be tough, and something that you need to have built up before you're exiting law school. So hope that helps, and really take those things into serious consideration. They're underplayed, they're not talked about, and it's a travesty that many law schools are kicking their students out without a leg because they're just not ready for anything. Law school sucks for preparing you for the real world in practice, and I learned that because I got to practice. I got to practice before I graduated because I was cleared, certified. And I found out very quickly, I'm like, okay, law school does not make you ready to do anything for the most part. Like, it doesn't train you for real practice. So, take that into consideration. It's not a joke. Work hard, network, find someone or some group that you could do a part-time job, whatever it is. Maybe you have to volunteer first or to get to that point, but you need to do it. And you need to do it like a year out before you graduate. You need to be finding that crap. So, especially if you're like, oh, I got to move back home in order to live, you need to be finding a place that's close to home that you can do some work for. So, all right, well, take care, guys. I'm off to Chipotle.